And I remember asking God, I am begging you, just give me one sign. If you are there, I promise you, I would seek you all my life. And if you are there, you can hear me. Please don't let the killers open the door of the bathroom. And the man came to look for us like 4, 5 o'clock. So when he opened the door, I jumped. So he told us what happened. He said there were 300 to 400 people. A big number made a circle around the house. Another number went inside the house, under the beds, in the closet. They went in the ceiling of the house. So then they came right to the door of the bathroom. And one of the killers, he told us, touched the handle. And before he pulled, the man said, you know what? We trust you. You are one of us. You can't hide these bad people. And he turned around and he left, and everyone left with him. When he told us that, really the shocking part of my life was, oh my God, God is real.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. Today I have a special guest that I was supposed to meet in New York on the East Coast, but I wasn't there, and so it didn't happen. So I invited her to come to Toronto. So we're sitting together. We wanted to sit together, and I wanted to sit with her and be in person for this interview. Raised amid the horrors of the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, my podcast guest found refuge within a tiny bathroom alongside 7 other women for a harrowing 3 months. Upon their emergence, the devastating reality of their murdered families awaited. Drawing strength from her spiritual faith, prayer, and notably the Rosary, she lived to tell her profound story. Today, residing in New York City with her husband and 2 children, she authored the autobiographical book, Left to Tell, which captures her heart-wrenching experiences and speaks publicly about her life journey. And I'd like to welcome you, Immaculee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. We're really happy to meet you too.
Yeah, I think we're both excited.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And grateful.
Amen.
So maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about your childhood in Rwanda. I know you've probably done that many times, but my listeners may not have heard it. And what was the atmosphere like leading up to 1994?
Sure, yes. Again, really happy to be here to see you. So I come from Rwanda, as you said, and I grew up in a tiny village, poor. But when I think about it today, we didn't know it was poor. You just had fun with it. I had fun with my brothers. I was one daughter among 3 boys. So we grew up playing together, with the neighbors. We didn't even know in my childhood which tribe I was. I heard about it when I was, I think, 11 years old. I was in class. And then I remember my teacher, who was an extremist, who hated people of our tribe, he asked me which tribe I was. Because every week they had this system where they would ask the Tutsis, people of our tribe, to stand up. And there would be like 4 people. And then they would ask the other people, Hutu, to stand up. But that was every single week. So one time he asked us to stand up. I stood up with the other tribe, the Hutus. And then, because my friend was a Hutu, then he asked Tutsis to stand up. Then my other friend was Tutsi, so I stood up too. So he was not happy. He said, you go out and you come back only when you know who you are. So I stayed outside crying for like 3 hours, the whole day almost, in the afternoon. So I didn't understand what was making him mad, angry. So that when I really knew there was troubles and it was a problem to be a certain tribe. Otherwise, my neighbors, Tutsi and Hutu, they all loved each other. We played and we trusted each other. I went to look for water with my friends, and if a child in the neighborhood fell asleep in my home, they just covered them and then pick them up and take them to the neighbor. And again, it was just really good.
So it wasn't coming from the people. This trouble.
No, it was not from the people. It was very much political. And I think the parents really did what they can to not to expose us to how bad things can be politically.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So it was beautiful. It was just childhood. I said when we were kids, we used to go outside and we would wait for a flash with like 20 kids. We'd wait for like a lightning in the sky.
Yes.
And we thought God was taking us pictures. So we would all like hold each other and we scream.
Oh. Yeah, right.
And then my mom was like, come inside, do work. So again, like it was safe. It just grows slowly until like 2-3 years before the genocide. That's when we started to really feel like something was dangerous. But it was a radio. It was not from the people. There was a radio that was speaking about this. I remember about 2 years before the genocide, there was a radio, so-called private radio. The journalists, they used to act like they were drunk. So they would say things like, one day we'll kill the people from that tribe. And they would say, give me scotch, give me whiskey. And they would act like they're drinking. And then they would say, oh, they are not human beings. Can't you see them? So I remember thinking, why no one is doing something about this? This is a country where if you steal, you have to go to court. If you insult somebody, you have to apologize.
Yes.
What is going on? And that is when we realized that they were really preparing something.
Yeah.
And somehow I knew, like everything, I think God has a way to prepare us. I remember I used to be praying and I would be just like thinking, what can happen? What is going on? So just like taking it in. And I remember thinking, well, if what they're saying happen, they're going to kill us. And then they kill every one of our tribe. Then everyone, this house will be killed. And this is the funniest thing I would say to myself, what am I going to do when they all die? And then after I would beat myself, I say, what's wrong with me? Am I this selfish? Like I think I would be the only one who will survive.
Right.
Of course I would die with them. But anytime I was just like this quiet, calm, it would be like a little video would come and then I would see every house burned, destroyed, and people dead. And then I would say, what am I going to do? Again, constantly I would come back to myself. I'm so bad. Like I just think I'm so special. I'm going to survive. And it was almost like that exactly what happened after.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. It's like a premonition.
Yeah, like something like you don't control, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost, you can see it when you come, when you just look in your heart, like, what is going to happen? But it also felt like it made sense with what they were saying that many people would refuse to accept. Many times I would beat myself just like, forget about that. It can't be that bad. They're just being crazy. But it's happening. That's what they're saying. And if you're doing that, then it will happen. It felt like it was very reasonable for what was coming next. And then you kind of like, no, it can't happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
I always tell people, please listen to your heart sometimes.
Yes.
God is saying, make decisions, do something. And sadly, of course, with the world today, sometimes you kind of say things like, can the world get this bad? And then, doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to happen, but it might.
It might.
It might. So just, pay attention.
To pay attention.
And listen.
Yeah.
People are having trouble listening these days, I find.
Yeah.
And when you don't listen, you certainly can't hear God.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, God definitely has a way to speak to us. He does. Yeah. Nothing surprises us if we do listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of your brothers went off to university. When did he leave for university? Was it before 1994?
So there is 2 brothers were actually in universities. So one was outside of the country.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That was the one I was thinking.
Yes. So he left 2 years before.
Okay.
And the funniest thing also, before he left at the airport, because of course we had to go, it was the first time we saw our brother going away.
Yeah.
Any family member really going away from the country. He told us, he's hugging us. He said, well, I'm escaping. I'm not sure I will find you.
Okay.
And my father was like, stop talking like that. He said, they will kill you. These people have been doing many bad things and it is in their hands, in their hands. Yeah. But I'm escaping. So he was always talking like that.
Wow. Okay.
And then he did. So 2 years before, thankfully, and talk about the things that you feel like, would be there. I remember when he left, before he left, So the war started 4 years before the genocide, because we had people of our tribe who were outside of the country. They chased them away, from like 30 years before the genocide. So anytime there will be a change of a president, they would kill people of our tribe, especially those who were interested in politics. So others will run away from the country because they wanted to kill them. So they will go there. But the moment you move away from the country, you were not allowed to come back. So many families were living separately because you were not allowed to come back. Like today, our president, who is now the president of the country, he left the country when he was 4 years old.
4 years old.
4 years old. And he couldn't come back to the country. So we knew all this, they were away, for like 30 years. And I remember my brother, when they started to come back inside the country, it was 1994, 4 years before the genocide. And they pushed their way in. They said, we can't stay away from our country. So we're coming. So with that, many people who are tried, they start to kill them, saying that if you come back, we will kill your brothers inside the country. Right. So when I finished my high school, the day of my diploma, my parents couldn't come to my diploma because they were already hurting people on the way. So my brother, the only one who stayed, he's the one who took a chance to come to receive my diploma as a parent. So when I think about it, look at this. He's the one who stayed in the end, almost became like a parent too,
Yes.
Yeah, so there's many ways I just saw the hand of God. And you realize that God knows what he's doing.
Yes, but you look back and see that, don't you?
When you look back.
Yes.
Yeah, when you look
in
back,
the moment, it's hard to understand.
Yeah. A month before the genocide, this is another funny thing. Not funny really, but this is the truth. Again, you see how God prepares you. So my parents will pray for people, really people who lived just with the truth, who lived their faith to almost to the letter, to love the neighbors. I remember my dad, anytime he came from work, he would put his bag there, take his rosary, and go around just like to overlook the lake that was near our home. And we stayed there like an hour looking at the lake. And my mom would say, don't disturb him, because she knew what he was doing. And then for like the next hour or two, he would go family by family. And he would visiting, saying hi. And he would come home and say, oh, this family is a kid who dropped out of the school. So we have to do this because the kid have to go back to school. And regardless of the tribes, there's someone who is sick. So we have to find a way to send them to a doctor. And they don't have enough. There is a family having trouble. And mom, you have to go to reconcile them. I will go to the other one. So that was like the normal thing like we did, and they would help, of course. I remember my mom was always like, my kids need to go to school. You can't give all the money away. And we didn't have much. But I just felt it was a fate. They lived to the letter with that. So anyway, a month before the genocide started, I was in college. And my dad sent me a letter. Of course, and both of them will write to us because we didn't have phone. So they wrote, they say, come back home. We want to see you, want to talk. So it was really strange because they never did this. Since I was in high school, I was in a boarding school. So my dad, for Friday, I went back to school on Monday. I was in college. And then for every day, he came back early. He didn't do what he was used to do, to go to visit every family in the evening. But he talked to me and he was like, so do you belong to a prayer group in school? So what do you do? And we would talk about, I was so happy that he was asking me these things because I love them. So what did you do? Where did you go? Did you go to retreat? Or what did you talk about? So he would ask me this question, like, hey, let's say the rosary together. So we had two of us. My mom is cooking and come back. She would come to talk. She's like, you still praying? What's wrong with you? The child came from school for you to talk to her. But that's what you're doing? Like, no, leave us alone. So the last day, I remember we did the Way of the Cross in the living room, just reading, talking, and we just had fun. We really have the love of God together. And then the last day, my mom went to sleep and she woke up. She was like, you brought the kid to talk to her. Now she's leaving tomorrow. You haven't even talked to her. He's like, don't worry, I will talk to her. Now I started to get scared. Like, what is he trying to talk to me? So he told me, he said, somebody's mom went back to sleep. So I'm one daughter among three boys. So I was very close to my father. he said, somebody told us that you went somewhere with a short skirt.
Oh.
So with this in my very simple village, to wear somebody to the knees was like a big deal. You have to wear below the knees. Somebody told you, Mom, that you wore something above the knees. And she wanted to make sure that I talk to you, that, you have to continue to keep the values of where you come from. And this is the funniest, my dad said. He said, you can't do that, right? I'm like, what do you say? I'm like, of course, Dad, I will not do that. I think they made up the story. I said, I knew that. So I'm like, yeah. But of course, my heart is beating. I'm like, I think maybe try to be shorter. But he was so much with me. He didn't want to hear that I wore something not proper. I'm like, yeah, it was waiting with one student. We just wore really nice. It wasn't bad at all. Like, I knew that. Of course, you can't do that. I'm like, I can't. And then he said, I called you to come home. For these 3 days, we have been talking about faith, about what is happening in the school with other students, what you are doing. But I really wanted to know where your faith is and where your values is. And he said, we grew you up. We showed you the way. We can't watch you every moment. But as long as you know God is there and he's watching you every moment, you are never alone. I have done my job. You belong to him. We did what we can do as your parents. I just wanted to make sure I know where your heart is. So I won't be here always. But I know you will be good because you remember what we taught you. God is there. Mary, the Virgin Mary, will always be as a mother, there as a mother. And Jesus is there, and God the Father is there. He made me so responsible in that moment because he just said, as long as you know what do you do, they are there and they're happy with the decisions you are making, I have done my work. And in the next morning, I went back to school. Of course, I remembered his words. And a month later, I came back to school, from school to home. 3 days later, we separated. We never saw each other again. And those were the words I will always remember.
Yeah. As
long as you know God is watching you, do whatever you want. I will not always be there. And they left. Wow. So when you think about it, did you know that was the last time? Did you know?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I'm only one he called home. My other 2 brothers, he didn't call them. And of course, they went with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, well, we don't know what's in this life.
Yeah.
We try.
We try.
We try to see, and we try to make the right decisions. But it's the miracles that we see when we look back. We think, oh, that's how I got here.
I know. And you realize that God is in control. If only we can be at peace, I think he guides us. Find peace and do the right thing that is not against our conscience. Yeah. I feel like God guides you. Like every moment is like, can it be good if only we can do things, of course, following.
Boy, your dad's practice of going to all the neighbors, that's such a good community practice. People need community. We have to do service to our neighbor, as it says in the Bible. And so I think he was really paying attention.
He did.
Yeah.
And with that, I still remember parents in my neighborhood, they used to bring their children for my dad to correct them for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we say, punish them. So, now I have children, of course. I always said, now I wish somebody can do it for me. But now we are so scared for the neighbors. Don't talk to my child because you don't trust.
Yeah.
But people really trusted him. Again, what it teaches me today is be a good citizen, wherever you are, So they used to bring their children. And now I know why. So whenever they brought their children, my dad will literally say, okay, stop everything he's doing and then talk to them. And he will tell the children, okay, so do you know why your parents are not happy? Well, I don't understand this and that. They will try, of course, to defend themselves. Okay, let me talk to you then. He will speak to them until they get it. If they don't get it, he say, come back tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
I won't punish you. I won't give you a punishment unless we agree. that you agree what you did was wrong, and because you understand the explanation why, the consequences. So we tell children, if you continue to do this, you will grow up and you can be this worse and worse and worse. If you do good and you change that bad habit, you can become this and this and that.
Yeah.
So children were excited to be punished.
They were excited to be punished.
Yeah. They loved him.
Right. Accepting your sins as a way to improve.
To improve.
Yeah.
And you can see what you can become. And you can grow in this good, build you in this good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember until they died. Truly. I remember, there were like 2 government ministers who used to be the students of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So they would come to bring him like wine, something, a gift, and they would always say, I am where I am because of what you taught me. Oh, wow. Because you punished me, because you explained to me what was wrong, what was right.
Yeah.
And even when we couldn't find, with our tribal differences, those were the people who were from the other tribe, not our tribe. I remember one time I couldn't find a scholarship. And one government minister who was his student when he was younger, he came home, he said, you have 2 sins. And one sin, you are Tutsis, like our tribe.
Right.
And second, where you live, the area, is not well seen in the government. So it's really hard to help your daughter. And I remember listening to that. I'm like, what? How can it be a sin to be a certain tribe?
Yes.
And that is somebody was that tribe who was saying, this is hard. So it really, now I look back, I can say, I'm grateful I had my parents. Yeah, I don't look at it, how can they live? More like, okay, everything is a gift. Let me just remember that, how grateful I am to have had them and to have seen them, to have seen how they acted with life. Mm-hmm. And that is my gift, to see somebody acting in a right way. Mm-hmm. It is the best thing, because that is such, it's a lesson you can carry on and give to your children.
That's right.
Yeah. I love to listen to your husband, Jordan. His lessons he gives and explanation. I'm like, wow, how brave to say the truth when the truth is not so much on fashion, I would say.
No, it's a bit old-fashioned.
Yeah, old-fashioned. And to see somebody brave enough to stand up for that, I'm like, praise God. Yeah, that there is somebody who can, just be brave. I mean, who knew that we're reaching a time where it is hard to just say the truth as you see it.
Yeah.
You have to look at and to have to think, who is going to say this and think this way? And I see it so much.
Well, and I think we're coming to a point too, or at least it seems that the powers that are in control right now, people are getting, they've had enough.
Yeah, they had enough.
Yeah, so prayers for the countries now that are going through these political correct times. Mm-hmm. We got to pray for them, because the time of people going along with what's happening is coming. It's coming to an end.
It is.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe, people will get hurt, but also it's better to live like that in the truth more than...
You have to.
You have to. It's
for our children, right?
For our children.
Yeah.
And
how old are your children?
Oh, they're big. They're 25 and 23.
Yeah. Mine are like 31 and 32, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. You have 2 children too?
Yeah.
Good.
A boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl, just like me.
Just like you.
Yes.
Who's older, the girl or the boy?
The girl.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
A girl to take care of her little brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. I always prayed. I pray they love each other. So now sometimes I feel like they gang against me and my husband. Like they very much get along.
Yes, they do.
They do, and
good.
they always like back each other up. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
But it's nice when you're right. Yeah, the lessons you teach them and you see them living through life is the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you realize you are a parent to so many. It's not just your children. You have to be that light for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your actions.
It's your actions.
It's your actions. It was your dad's actions, right? Not just his words, but his actions, that he went to different houses along the street and checked on his neighbors.
Yes. The actions.
That's really, that was a big action.
That
made a big, effect on you, that you remember that and see that.
Very much so, yes. And the words, one time, I will never forget, one time I told him that in school, in a boarding school, high school, we're not allowed to bring any food from outside. So the nuns were taking care of us. We have just to eat what they gave us. But some kids would bring like cheese, some stuff you can store in there, and they would have that. And then I told him, other kids, they bring this, I can bring chocolates and put in my bag. He said, what did he say? He said, the big number of the wrongdoers does not change wrong into right. And just hit me like that. I'm like, so you're right. He's right. He's right. He's like, I don't care how many people are doing wrong. You have to follow the rule. If the school is not allowed to bring food, that's what you have to do. I'm like, okay. But I liked it. It's like you can watch your parents to make sure that what they say is what they do, but also is a correct thing.
Yeah.
I remember one of the last thing he said before we separated. He had the rosary in his hand and he spoke to everyone. And he said, if it is a small group that is causing trouble, we will defeat them. Fear is our worst enemy. And then he said, however, if it is the government, I can't lie to you. They have the police, the military, they already blocked the borders. They will kill us. And then he said, even if it was a government, let's not be scared. Maybe this is a chance God is giving us to repent our sins so we can go to heaven. How many people who are blessed enough to know that they're going to die? Dying is not the worst thing. The worst thing is to die in a worst, bad, hurting, lying.
He talks about that, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he says dying isn't the worst thing.
It's not.
No.
And when he said that, that's so good. It's like you're proud even if you're in danger.
Yeah.
But inside I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's not about dying. It's about how you died.
Yeah.
So it continues. So yeah, he taught me a lot that continued to lead me today. And really again, everyone will die. Mm-hmm. People who lived in 1700, everyone have died in 1800. So to keep up the truth and live with your dignity.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can tell if you're living with your dignity because you can feel at peace.
You do. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so if you're not at peace, then you have to think about what you're doing and what you're saying to see if you're telling the truth.
Yes.
And doing the next right thing.
Yeah. And God is love. As they say, God is love, God is truth. And He lives in each one of us. He made each one of us. So there's something in Rwanda, in a place called Kibeho, apparitions of Mary that happened there. Mm-hmm. And she used to say, if a child doesn't know the mother or the father, it doesn't mean that the father doesn't know the child. So we are all hers. We are all God's children. And God knows He put His peace inside, a piece of Him inside of Him, us. So we can feel the truth. We can recognize it. That's why even if a church person says, do this, but it's not right, you know it. Mm-hmm. So it's not in the hands of what would you read, what even you heard. You know it inside.
Yeah.
That feels peaceful,
Yeah.
Sure it is. Yeah.
So the apparitions of Mary, tell me a little bit more about that.
My heart was whole. I'm so happy. I was thinking about it as I come here. I mean, my heart thinks about the apparition of Our Lady, Mary, in Rwanda especially, every day. I don't know if it's 2 hours. I don't think about it. Because, so she appeared in 1981, and I was a child. This is the funniest thing, actually. Everyone have a story with her, but in my life, a few months before she appeared, I was having a crisis of my faith. And then my teacher in my 4th grade read us a story about Fatima, how Mary appeared. Because I just used to think, who wrote the Bible? When I think about it, I was 8 years old when I started to have this challenge, because in my family we prayed every night. So God behaving well in the eyes of God as Catholics was very necessary. So I started to have a crisis of my faith. Who wrote the Bible? Who was there? How can they be sure for sure? How these priests know what to tell us, do this, do that? How can they prove that there's even a God after this? So that was it really eating me. But then I thought, so if there's no God, why should I behave good? But thankfully, I was still in the hands of my parents, so they still can guide me. I had to do what they say, sleep, come home, be home. Otherwise, I thought, what can stop you? Because before I wanted to go to heaven. I didn't want to go to hell from what they tell us. So one time, our teacher told us about the story of Fatima, how Our Lady appeared to these 3 kids. And then the miracle of the sun. A miracle of the sun was seen by like 70,000 people. And it was raining for 3 days. And within 12 minutes, the sun seemed to come down. All the water were dried. And everyone was there. So she read us all these miracles. I said, wow, so if this is true, then everything can be true about God. And what I thought was, if the devil, suppose it's from the devil, if the devil is real, then God is real too. So that was something that really shocked me. And then I thought, well, let me ask. I thought it was made up, but the teacher told us it was actually true. And then Our Lady spoke about going to church, praying the Rosary. She said she was the queen of the whole Rosary. And then she spoke about what the priest was talking about. Go keep company Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. Read the Bible. Be cool. Respect God's commandments. I'm like, oh, so this supernatural person is actually speaking about the same thing our priests are talking about. So from there, my faith really came back, just like that. And then I started again to feel good. And then I started to play a game with my friends, having apparitions. So I thought you have to be 2 girls, like Fatima, and 1 boy. So within that time, every night we became shepherds. We went to pray the Rosary, and we would see a flash coming. We run. We thought Our Lady was coming. I actually was sure that if we do what the kids of Fatima did, Mary will come. So within like that month, before, of course, she came to us, we heard the story of Kibeho, in a place where Mary appeared. I remember my dad came home. By this time, he was a director of Catholic schools. So he was just like very much like thinking, and what's going on, Dad? Tell us, what is going on in the school? He said, well, something happened. It seems like Our Lady, Mary, the Mother of Jesus, just appeared in a place called Kibeho, in a high school. So I broke down and cried. Like, Daddy, she's supposed to come here. We're waiting for her. So what do you mean? I was a child, 11 years old. And then I told him what we have been doing. So anyway, so she have just appeared in a place called Kibeho, in a high school. So my heart was sold from that moment. I followed. I used to go to the teacher, to a priest, and I asked him, we were supposed to be the ones to have apparitions. Tell us about what is going on. He was so happy. He was very good. So what he did, he would go to Kibeho, ask his friends to tape the apparitions and bring them home. That's how we knew so much about this. So the story, what happened is, Our Lady came to a high school kid, Alphonsine, the first one, and she was persecuted. And she begged Our Lady, please appear to a second one. And she appeared to a second person. Please appear to others, otherwise your message will not be heard. She appeared to a third person who was the head of the crew of those who were persecuting the child.
Oh.
Yeah, the others. And that's how everybody changed. So the apparition...
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. So the apparition in Kibeho, they used to last like 4 hours. Unlike Fatima, Lourdes, they used to last like 8 hours. One time, I remember exactly, it lasted 8 hours. So she came like a mother. She would speak to them. The message was really the same. Like Lourdes, Fatima, she brought people to say, pray, pray, pray. There's one word she always said 3 times. Pray, pray, pray. That's where lays your power. God is with you when you pray, and His power goes through you when you pray. She really loved the Rosary.
I think they say pray, pray, pray so that you practice prayer.
Exactly.
That's why they say it more than one time.
Yeah.
It's not that you pray once. It's that you pray always.
Always. And she taught us, be in a state of prayer. It's not just like saying the words over and over, but be in a state of like speaking to God in that love in your heart. Yeah. So she would say that, as she said, make prayer groups. Pray your rosary every day. Think about the mysteries. Be there with her when Jesus was born, like the joyful mysteries. Be there with Jesus when he was dying. Think about him, especially out of love. So everything became much more clearer during the genocide, because with the 3 months I spent in the bathroom, I really finally started to pray with my heart the rosary.
Yes, and you had the rosary with you in the bathroom.
Yes. So Mary have really made us love. I wrote a book about this, Our Lady of Kibeho. In one word, she truly became a mother of heaven who came to teach her children. With tears. She showed the children who saw her what was coming in Rwanda. She said, if you don't come back to love one another, to live according to God's way, to be in truth, to forgive one another, this is what is going to happen. So she showed the kids, people killing each other. They used to scream and say, this can never happen here. But she said, if you don't come back to love one another, this is what is going to happen. And she said, I'm not only speaking to Rwanda, I'm speaking not even to just Africa, but to the whole world.
Yeah.
Love one another, remain with God, practice your faith. So when the genocide started, I knew what Our Lady Mary have said, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is what she said. So when I separated my father, he gave me the rosary. And I knew the importance of the rosary. I didn't pray it every day, like during the genocide. Before, I used to pray it, and I loved prayer. I loved the peace that came from prayer. I always belonged to a prayer group where we talk about Jesus, we talk about the miracles of that happened to people when you are waiting for a taxi and you're going to a job interview and you start praying and all of a sudden something just happened.
Yes.
I love this.
I do too. I love this stuff.
I love it all. So many things happen really through the rosary. But when my father gave me the rosary, it's so funny. So when we separated, I felt the words like he wanted to tell me, even if he didn't say them. When he gave me the rosary, I had the rosary already.
Oh.
Why he gave it to me, it was just like something spoken to my heart. It was like he told me, I won't be here anymore.
Yeah.
But whatever you need, you know what to do now. You go to God through the rosary. You ask Mary to pray with you and to pray for you.
He didn't want you to stay with them.
I know. He said, go. So I remember when he literally told me these words. He said, what can I give you? Take the rosary. And then he said, go to the neighbor who was from the tribe and who was actually a Protestant pastor. My dad always told us, don't judge people. You don't know how good people are living with their God inside. And no matter how somebody from that tribe does wrong to you, never think everyone is bad.
Oh, wow.
Or from
that's wise.
Yeah. From that religion, from that country. And he used to tell us, make an effort, because it is much easier to judge everyone because somebody have done bad to you. Even 2 people, even 3 people from that group of people, make an effort. And he used to tell us, if you judge people, you will miss out many angels in your life.
Right.
Because you don't know who God is going to send you when you need it most. So make an effort to judge people individually. And then always open your heart to people from the group. Then when he gave me the rosary and he asked me to go to that man, he was different from us in so many ways. But he said, I know him. He's a good man. He won't be able to kill. And me too, when I left out of obedience to my father.
Yes.
Yeah, I truly didn't want to hurt his feelings. I knew how much he protected our family. I knew how much he really cared for what is true. He cared for the neighbors. And I remember thinking, even if I die, I'd rather die than hurting his feelings.
Right.
Than hurting, if he thinks this is what is good, I will do it. But I didn't want to go. I thought my way was the right one. Stay with everyone. But when he said, go, I can't worry about everyone and worry about you. Your brothers can run. Your mom will not leave her sons. You have to go. I said, okay. And he gave me the rosary. And that was the last time I saw them. I still remember, again, talk about God speaking to the heart.
Yeah.
I remember when I was leaving, something in my heart said, this is it. You will never see them again.
Yeah.
I said, no, can't you see? Because it's not like the voice outside. It was like from inside. Can't you see? We're good. People love us and we love them. So we will see each other. And I will make another step. Inside my heart, something will say, this is it. I remember looking back, just looking as if like it was my way of saying bye to them, because I never got a chance to. I still remember where my mom was. She couldn't even come close. It was so hard to see a mother, you think like this is it, losing the control of caring and, for your family. My mom was that kind of person who was still tucked in the bed when you were 20. So she just knew where you were, always. So she couldn't come close. It was too painful. I still remember where my dad was, my brothers, and they're looking. And I'm sure maybe in their heart they knew, this is it. So anyway, I took the rosary, and that's the only thing I took. I told them, my neighbor, when I got there, what my parents told me. He said, I know, this can be bad. I'm like, really? But it's like, you know, like, if you didn't do something wrong, why would anyone want to hurt you? So there was still that part in me that, no, it can't be, but it's happening. So he put him in a bathroom, 3 by 4 feet. First with 5 women, and later he brought 2 more women. So we were 8 people in 3 by 4 feet. And the only thing I had was a rosary in my hand. So that became my refuge. And that's what I did. I just prayed. And thank God for that prayer, because it was like my mind went away. I would think about Jesus and Mary and the joyful mysteries when Angel Gabriel came. So I accepted to follow Mary's advice. Not like it made sense, because I'm in trouble. By my trouble, I can think about it from morning until night, over and over. I was tired. It just is getting worse, me thinking about it.
And you could hear them outside.
Oh, yes. It can. Yeah, we heard them outside. The man who was hiding us, he told us not to make any noise, not to speak to one another, not even to flash the water of the bathroom.
Right.
Until somebody is flashing the water in the next bathroom.
Right.
So I knew that, by the way, the love he showed us was really sweet. When you see somebody trying to care for you, it touches the heart, because everyone was trying to kill us. And this man was like, don't even flash the water. I'm like, okay, thank you for trying to protect us. So we sat there. The first week, that when really I felt the effect of horrible emotions. You know, I would feel fear, but it can go as far as can be. And I really realized that bad emotions can grow. They have levels.
You're right.
Fear can be this way or it can be this way. So fear would come to my body and I would be trembling. My stomach would be burning, fire, out of fear. And then I would move from that to anger, because now I really developed anger in ways I never had before. Anger, I would think about things I can do to revenge. Then I would go to the next step. Okay, maybe I can catch the people who did this to us. Okay, I'm going to train my body. I'll become a soldier, and then I will just revenge. How can I revenge? Oh, maybe I will take a plane and just fly the country and throw bombs all over the country. That's where the anger was taking me, to a level where you don't even care about anyone. And then I remember thinking, well, then I can die with them. Oh, it's better we die, all of us, than having us only who are dying. Because now the government, the radio, everything, not the private radio, but the national radio, we're talking, look for them.
Oh, my goodness.
Finish all of them.
Wow, can you imagine? I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I said, at least we thought it was private, crazy people on private radio. The national radio?
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, but why? And they think we're enemies. How can a child be an enemy? I remember one government minister, a man who was a father of one of my friends from high school. I remember he went on radio and he said, don't forget children. Don't forget older people. It's a cleansing. We just have to live in a paradise without them. I'm like, but you're making a mistake. You can't call a child an enemy. You can't call, an older person, innocent person, an enemy and want to kill them.
Yeah.
All this time I thought maybe they're making a mistake. Maybe they think I'm an enemy, but I'm not. Maybe when they know, they might just be okay with me. I really gave them some benefit of doubt, that they're just confused. But when they start to speak about babies and how they're killing them, That's when I said, no, this is just pure evil. And there is no way. So, however, the more it became bad, the more I turned to that voice inside. I wanted to trust not the government anymore, but to that voice inside. Because before I just thought, they can't be this evil. They are old people. They know what's right and wrong. These are people who are PhDs. These are people who are smart. You can't kill a child. But then when they start to say those, I'm like, okay, this is pure evil. So I started to take refuge in the voice of truth inside my heart. Mm-hmm. So they gave order to kill everyone and also to search everyone, every house from the Hutu tribe, because they knew that many people from their tribe were also hiding Tutsis. Not everyone was bad like that, not at all. I truly believe not even half of the Hutu were bad or were killing. It was a government that overtake the radio, the TV, and then they spoke in one voice like, we are going to kill you. Almost like finding the strength together in a big number. Mm-hmm. Then we felt like everyone hates us, but there were many good people who were trying to hide people.
Like this pastor.
Yeah. Who was good. So in the first week, I was a monster. I couldn't remember how to smile.
Right.
The anger, the fear, all these bad emotions. I felt pain. I had a headache. I was sweating out of anger. My heart would be racing out of bad thoughts in my head. And then I remember thinking, nobody touched me. And yet look at how my body is acting. This anger can affect me like this. And it started to scare me, what is happening inside of me. But when I thought about God, I felt like I had a break. When I said prayer, I felt like my whole body was responding to that. Mm-hmm. Like peace was coming to me. So it became one time, of course, I was angry with God too. How can this happen? Where are you? Do you even exist? And then it became worse. They came to search for us. So they came 8 times. But the first time, it really changed me. So they came to search. I remember I saw them through the window of the bathroom. And I remember thinking it was like 1,000 people. They were dressed like in banana leaves. They were trying to scare people. Mm. And our home, where I was a 4-bedroom house. So it wasn't a big house where you think you can hide somewhere. So I saw them through this tiny window of the bathroom. And I thought, this is it. I'm dead. Mm-hmm. They had all kind of arms, long spears, machetes, grenades. Mm-hmm. They came inside running. And I thought, okay, this is it. This is how you die. I remember starting to ask myself, how do you die? How is my soul going to separate from my body? How am I going to die? Are they going to put a knife in my back? Are they going to take me, cut me in pieces, keep me, rape me? What are they going to do? A million things went through my mind. And I remember the pain I felt. Actually, when somebody tells me they're feeling pain now in my life, I just want to sit there and listen. Because you can't know what people are going through if you're not nearby. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we assume we know, mm-hmm. but we truly can't know.
No, that's...
So I remember what I was going through. It was like 1,000 needles are going through my body. Mm-hmm. I'm in fire, but I'm not dying fully. And I wish to die quickly than feeling what I was going through. Mm-hmm. I remember when thinking about, in a Catholic, they talk about purgatory. And I used to read the saints' books, like Saint Padre Pio.
Yeah.
He used to talk about the pain in purgatory. It can be like so painful. And I used to think, if my body's not there, nothing can really hurt me. Of course, I was a child, I didn't have any emotional pain like that bad. I thought, as long as nobody touches me, my body will be dead, my soul will be fine. But I remember feeling in that moment, oh, this feels like purgatory I have read about. It was painful. And then in that agony, really, truly, some words I just came to understand them because I was feeling it. Mm-hmm. It's agony. Mm-hmm. This is what they call agony. To know what is coming. You are in pain. You want to die, but you're not even dying. And I remember feeling like I started to feel 2 voices over my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And one voice was telling me, very contrary voices. And I always say, these are not loud voices outside, but I felt so strong opposing each other. And this is the kind of thing I feel when I'm facing a challenge, but not as strong like that time. Because that was a matter of minutes for them to find us and to die. I remember feeling one voice was telling me, open the door, end the torture. Why wait? And his voice sounds like nice, actually.
Right.
Yeah, it feels like it's very much trying to help you.
Yeah.
And it is too painful. Why wait? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Why wait for them? Because like, I'm dying slowly, but I'm not even finishing. However, there was another nicer voice. I can hear distinctly in my heart. And one voice was saying, don't open the door. Ask God to help you. Remember who God is? You have heard? God is Almighty. Do you know what Almighty means? It means even if I open the door, they might not be able to see you. Even if they shoot you, the bullet might not go through you. Isn't it what we believe when we say all things are possible? So it's up to you. Either you trust this voice, the nice one, or the bad one. And I remember in a split of a second, I knew it was too painful to listen to both. I remember thinking, I need to choose which one to listen to. Either the bad one and it die quickly, or the nice one, and then I give everything to this. And I remember asking God, if it is anyone who created me, if it is anyone who put all this together, forget about even being Catholic or, Christian. I feel like a created thing speaking to the Creator. Mm-hmm. If there's anyone who made me, if there's anyone who put all these things together, the moon, the stars, the sun, the earth I'm standing on, if there's anyone who controls my breath, I am begging you, just give me one sign. If you are there, I promise you, I would seek you all my life. I might not know everything about you, but I would seek you. I would search for you. And if you are there, you can hear me, please don't let the killers open the door of the bathroom. Because in my human capacity to think, 300 to 400 people searching for bedroom house, there is no way they won't find us. But if you do, you are the Almighty, they might not find us. They won't. And I knew I can die tomorrow. I knew everyone dies. So it wasn't like I can't die. I mean, am I better than any other human being? I just wanted to know, even if I die tomorrow, I will die with hope that it doesn't end here. So after I asked that, I fainted. I didn't hear anything. Truly, in my life, we used to hear in school that people faint, but I never fainted. I'm like, how do you faint? I truly fainted. I didn't hear anything until about 5 hours later. The man who was hiding. 5 hours, yeah. It felt like 2 minutes. Because I remember they came like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And the man came to look for us like 4, 5 o'clock. So when he opened the door, I jumped. Mm-hmm. We were not supposed to speak to each other, the ladies. We only watched each other's eyes to see what you were hearing outside. So I didn't watch them. We were frozen. And when he opened, I screamed, oh, I thought they found us. And then I remember he said, oh, you are still like this. They left a long time ago. And that's when we started to breathe like, they left? They're not here? He's like, oh no, long ago in the morning. And he was still like this. So he told us what happened. He said there were 300 to 400 people. A big number made a circle around the house. We didn't hear all that. All I remember is the beginning, the screaming, so that no one would jump out of the window or go through the door. Another number went inside the house, under the beds, in the closet. They went in the ceiling of the house to make sure no one was there. With flashlights, they went on the roof of the house to make sure no one was there. And every day they found people. And then he told us they even opened suitcases to see if there's any baby hiding. Wow. So then they came right to the door of the bathroom. And one of the killers, he told us, touched the handle. And before he pulled, the man said, I was sweating, I was shaking. If only they can think how I was a few minutes before, they would have known this is the place. And before he opened, he looked at him and said, you know what? We trust you. You are one of us. You can't hide these bad people. And he turned around and he left, and everyone left with him. When he told us that, really the shocking part of my life was, oh my God, God is real. He heard me. It wasn't even about, oh, we made it. It was more like, what?
Yeah.
So God is really, really real. He can listen to individuals. I mean, I didn't even have to be in the church. I can talk to him from my heart, in the bathroom, It was really shocking, but it was a new day.
Oh, yeah.
It was a new day. I was so happy that now I don't have to be quiet because we can't talk. I'm going to talk to God. I'm going to talk to Mary. Everything I have heard before, everything came back. I had the rosary my father gave me, and I asked the man to give me the Bible because I wanted to know, why did I almost lost my faith when I needed it most?
Had you read the Bible before?
I have read before. I always read the Bible
Right.
before I went to sleep. Maybe something in me didn't believe 100%. I just love the stories. I used to love the Proverbs, Ecclesiastics. It was like a little, it's more wisdom, the story of our Lord, what happened. It was all good, but not like this time. This time, I was reading like a student who have to pass the exam because you have to remember. And then I was reading to put together the character. Who is he? So not like a question mark. It was more like, okay, I tell you I believe in you. Now I want to understand you. Until you disappoint me. That's how I was dealing with God.
Yeah.
Everything else disappointed me. The government that was there to protect us, no, they are now saying kill them. My parents, who I thought can do things, now my mom doesn't even know where I am. My father, who I thought was strong, he doesn't know where I am. It was like I was even mad at my parents. I felt like they were really good and protective, but we never discussed. Like they can die at the same time. I thought one of them would always be there to continue to give me guidance. Nothing prepared me to what was coming.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, you never talked about this. You always talked about what is possible, how study, good, this, but you never talked about this. But God, somehow, I felt he have not disappointed me yet.
Right.
So I took the Bible. I remember reading the story of Job. And I started to come from the part of, I believe you. So that was, okay, I believe you. Now let's go. Let me see. So I remember reading the story of Job in the Bible. I'm like, wait, you took away everything from this man and he still loves you and you love him? So again, it wasn't like, how can you? It was more like, okay, I guess this is how you deal with people.
Right.
I just want to understand who you are. So that means people who love God, it doesn't mean that they will always have everything going their way. So that was a discovery I was having there. And he still loves them. So it doesn't mean that he hates them if they are going through bad things. And then I'm watching how faithful Job is. And then God restores him, give him everything and more. I'm like, okay, so that's how you deal with people. You test their faith. And then I remember reading about Abraham. I knew all this before, but I somehow wanted to understand fully. Abraham, taking him to go to kill his child. And of course, he held him. I'm like, okay, Abraham, I get it. You love me. I'm like, oh, so you are this kind of God. I remember reading about Daniel in the den of lions. And I'm trying to see, like, what is going on? This man is faithful to the truth, to what he believes in God. And then the lions didn't eat him. I remember thinking, you mean you can do this? I want to be your friend. If you can stop the lions to eat somebody, I want to be your friend. So all that was shaping who I was. And the moment I was strong enough to say, okay, God, whatever happened, good and bad, I'm going to stick on you. And I remember reading where it says, ask shall be given, knock, the door will be open. And also what that means, And if you have trust, small as faith, as small as a mustard seed, even if you tell a mountain to move, to move, I will tell God, like, what do you mean? Are you sure? If I trust you everything will be fine. And then pray unceasingly. And I remember feeling like there's something like a huge blockage, like a big stone was on my way with God. And forgiveness I had.
Forgiveness?
Yeah, forgiveness.
Where did you find forgiveness?
I found it when I was still hiding.
You did?
I did.
Oh, wow.
But I felt like unforgiveness was like a stone between me and God. Like almost like a shadow that was blocking him from being fully like one. So I hated the killers. I hated them.
Right.
And then it became a sickness. I hated everyone from that tribe. because I remember when I found forgiveness, I really felt bad. I said, wait, when I hated people who did bad, I also hated their children. It's not right. Because if you hate a whole tribe, a whole group of people, you hate also innocent people. And for me, it became one. They hate us, I hate them more.
Right.
But when I was praying, it was like taking a break from hating them. I felt peace. The story of Jesus and Mary and the Bible, in the Rosary especially, it took me away from the bathroom. I would just be where Jesus was born. And I started to pray after the first miracle. When I saw that they didn't find us, I said, okay, what do I do now? Pray unceasingly. How do I do that? Something in my heart was like, you have the Rosary. You can use that. Keep meditating and just follow like a child, following with this one prayer. Keep going and meditate on the mysteries, what happened. So I started, and I remember the first Rosary took me like 20 minutes. And then for the first time in that bathroom, for 20 minutes, I felt peace. My mind was away from me, my selfishness, how dare, my anger, my fear, everything shut down. I was just thinking about Jesus, where he was born, and everything Mary told us in Kibeho. Be there with me. Be there with my son. Think about him. Be his friend. Feel pain for his sorrow. Feel good for his joy and my joy, for the glorious. So be there, like, go away from yourself and be there with him. So I'm like, wow, I can find peace praying. So I remember saying, let me now do the sorrowful mysteries. Oh, I felt sad. I'm like, what? You carried the cross? You died? And this was something I felt God was always reminding me. Why did he die? Because he loves me. You mean somebody loves me? Even when they're trying to kill me? Yeah, remember, he too, he went through it. All that started to alleviate my pain. And I started to think like, well, if I can kill God, how can I claim like they should not touch me? And I will keep going. Glorious mysteries. So he resurrected. Okay, so this is what happened with the people who died for the truth. In the end, the truth will conquer. So I will go back. And I end up saying the Rosary, praying the Rosary all day. But what was beautiful was, physically, I felt like I was there. I wanted to see everything that happened. When he ascended to heaven, I'm like, oh, I wonder what Peter was thinking. I wonder what Matthew was thinking. So I felt like I'm there, you know. And then I see the Holy Spirit coming, and I can imagine the fire. And I would go through the Bible, like, let me think about what happened here. So I really spent the day away from me. And I was with them. And then, of course, what they killed him, I was there. I'm like, Pilate, how dare you do that? You know, you shouldn't do that. Everything was inside of my heart. But it took me from me, from my pain, my anger, my fear. It always shut down. And then I would just defend Jesus. And I would come back. So one time I counted how many rosaries I said. I said 27 rosaries every day. And I used to complain about saying one rosary a day. But it was only where I can be safe. It was only where my mind can be free from anger, from fear.
Yeah.
So forgiveness came through the rosary. I remember one time I would be praying and the bad voice would be beneath my prayers.
Oh, yeah.
They will kill you. You praying, but they will kill you. Then I'm like, I'm praying, and yet there's the bad voice. How can I say Hail Mary and my mind is somewhere far away?
Right.
What is that? How do I stop that? And I really realized also through that thing, that bathroom, that experience, the moment I started to ask God a question, he answered me. When I assumed I know what I'm doing, I was left alone.
Yeah, right.
But when I questioned, the answer started to come. So I was saying, how do I do this? And something said, well, pray with your heart. If you do, the bad voice will not find you. I'm like, but how do I pray with my heart? Well, mean what you say. Mean it. Be sincere. And that's one of the things Mary in Kibeho, she used to tell us. She used to say, pray with sincerity, my children. She's so sweet. And she would even say, if you don't have sincerity, pray for sincerity. I'm like, right, how easy that is, you know. Yeah. So she really insisted a lot, pray with sincerity. That's when the prayer can make sense. Like, be there, you know, hear what you say. Don't just say words. Hear what you say and mean it.
Yeah, because when you pray, it's very often that if you're not truly right there with the story, that some other thoughts will take you away. Oh yeah, they just take you away.
I know.
And then you realize that, and you think, oh, well, I guess I have to pray for those thoughts. Pray for whoever I'm thinking about. I'll pray for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it's
and when
it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, actually.
Yes. And what I realize is that when, like you said, your mind takes you away, if you come back to that prayer, you can actually kind of connect it.
Yes.
Because every time I would pray, like Jesus, for example, is born, is one part of the Rosary, and you meditate on that, I would tell him, like, you were born in this world that is so bad. Why did you come anyway? Don't you see what they're doing to people? And they end up killing you. And then I always feel like he's like, I loved you. I came to defend you, to teach you what is right, even if I knew what can happen. I'm like, so Jesus, you can do all things right. Please hold their hand. Don't let them find us. So like I can be myself. I can live with what I'm going through, but involving him.
Right.
So something said, pray with your heart. Mean what you say and be there with him, but also with what you are living. I remember the forgiveness started to come when I said to pray for my heart. Just through our Lord's Prayer, the common prayer.
Yes, yes. Our Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, I remember one time I was like, our Father. And I just remember, like, mean it. I'm like, our Father. If I mean it, that means the Father of everybody, including the killers. And they cannot be your children. So I started to be like a brat. I'm like, no, they are not your children. And something started to talk to me again in my heart. Your father have 3 boys. If one of them does wrong, does your father stop being their father? No. Actually, your father will be more thinking about the bad one. I'm like, you're right. Okay, fine. So he's the father of the good and the bad. And then we start again. And then I remember keep going. And I read this part, forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I cannot forgive that.
I bet, right in a moment like that.
How do you forgive bad people like that? And again, that was a hard one. It took me time. And remember the first thing was like, skip that part then. Don't lie to God. If he says things you don't mean, that means you're lying.
Right.
Do you want to lie to your friend? Somebody your life depends on them and you're lying to them? Which kind of friendship if you are lying to somebody? I'm like, you're right. And then I started to skip it.
Oh,
I did. And the funny thing, I felt good.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, at least when you're truthful, things are better. You feel good inside. Like lies doesn't feel well. I always felt like my blood will go through different directions I was like, forgive us as we forgive. Like, oh no, like I'm just lying.
Yeah.
That's not the truth.
Yeah.
So I started to skip the part and it felt better. And again, I think God really comes through when we're trying to live truly.
Yes.
That's when he can teach you. So after time, I remember I was about to skip that part and something was like, hey, I hope you know that prayer was given by Jesus himself. The one you believe is God. The one you believe cannot make a mistake. If I were you, I would then try to change his prayer. I'm like, you're right. But how do I do this now? And I remember thinking, you're right. If he gave those words and he's God, and I want my God to remain God, I want everything I'm reading, the promise he gave, that is true. Keep praying. If you know how to give your children what they want, what do you think about God? Knock, the door will open. Don't give up. If you're praying for something, you truly need it. Remember, I'm a parent, more loving than you can ever be, and yet you can care for your children. I'm like, okay, but I need him to be truthful. I can't say he's truthful this way, and this one is not. So what do I do? And something definitely in my heart convinced me, put back the prayer. If you can't forgive, ask him to help you, but don't assume you know better. Because before, I was so sure people are killing children are unforgivable. They can never be forgiven. And me to be a hero, I need revenge because they're so bad. And the whole world will agree with me. But then I'm reading the Bible. Everywhere it said, forgive. How many times? 70 times. I'm like, how do you do this? So this part, I remember literally making a decision, put back the prayer, and turn it into a request instead of knowing what you're doing for sure.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so I put back the prayer, and anytime I reach that, I will tell Jesus, I still don't know how to forgive them, but I am willing.
Yes.
Just help me. And if I can trust you to protect me in the bathroom, why can't I trust you to change my heart? Especially if I know this is wrong, this is bad. So I kept praying this way, and between us, I never thought God would ever find a way to change my heart. I'm like, really? Somebody killing a child? But he's God. If he says so, let me give it to him. If he said we can forgive, help me. Okay, it's in you. Yeah. I'm not God. He's God. I make mistakes. Yeah, he doesn't make mistakes. I kept praying, still feeling the anger until I always tell people, please, just try God. But we have to be sincere in everything, including if I have a bad habit, I need to be able to give it to him. I can't say I have a bad temper and just be okay with that. If you have a bad temper, ask him to change it. Whatever flaw of character we have, we can ask him to change them. Don't be proud of it. Because sometimes I feel people are just like, I'm like that. No, you're not like that. You're not a bad person. It's a habit we have developed, we become. But anyone can change, I truly believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept praying this way until one day I remember I was meditating on the fifth sorrowful mystery when Jesus is dying on the cross. I remember saying, anyway, wait, I want to understand exactly what happened. I took the Bible, I'm reading, like, what? Let me take him like my brother, like my father, somebody I love, and see what happened to him. So I remember thinking the day before he's bleeding, knowing what is coming. The night before, he's in pain, he's in agony. Okay, so in the morning, they caught him. He's betrayed by his friend. One of his apostles he chose out of the 12, Judas. In the morning, Pilate condemned him after washing his hands. He says, I don't find nothing wrong. I'm like, what? How dare you do that? Because I was just so there. I was there. I'm watching everything. I wanted to be there to understand, to see the situation. How can you do that? He's innocent. How coward you are. I'm there. I'm like, he's my friend. He's my father, my brother. And he gave him up to be beaten.
Yeah. Well, that was the government and it was your situation.
It was there. Exactly. It was my situation. So I'm reading and I'm trying to understand. They beat him. And I'm like, wait, this is me, like you said. And then they put a crown of thorns over his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then
in his head.
In his head.
Yeah.
I'm like, it hurts. I mean, I can't even imagine. So, and I will come back to the next part. You are God. If I were you, I would just say one word. They would just die. Because that's who I was, in my anger. I don't know how you're doing this, but in my anger, I would just like blink and they would all die. And he could have done it. In the God I believed, and I decided to believe. And then they gave him a crown, the cross to carry. And I would ask Jesus, why are you doing this? Why didn't you stop it? And anytime I felt that way, I felt he was speaking to my heart. Because of you. Because I love you. Because I wanted to defend you. Because I wanted to show the truth, no matter what I suffer. So I'm with him. I see his mother carrying with him. Like, this is painful. At least my mom is not here. I think she's all suffering, seeing what I'm going through. But his mother is there. And I really felt so bad for them. And then I kept going. He's on the cross. He has nails in his body. To this day, sometimes when I'm praying the Rosary, I pinch myself. Mm-hmm. Like, this happened. This is not something that just like an idea or somebody give an example like the parable our Lord was giving. This is the truth of what happened. He's on the cross. He has nails in his body. I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting in the bathroom, but you are about to die. This is really bad. Mm-hmm. And to watch his mother, just to imagine what that is. She's dying. How brave. She had to be there to listen to what they're saying to her child. They're insulting, put nails in his body. Who mother who can take that? Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't insult them. She wouldn't throw stones. She wouldn't do something wrong. How can that be? And the more I watched them, the more I felt, you know what? My situation is not as bad as that. There's a part of the Bible I love when they say, through his wounds, ours are healed.
Mm-hmm.
I truly felt the more I thought about his pain, what he endured out of love, the more my pain became so much less. Because I thought up to that time, it was the worst thing I ever gone through. What I'm living, it's worse than a prisoner. At least even in a cell, they gave them a cell. But in my cell, we are 8. We have to sit on top of each other. We don't even have enough food. So all this was giving me a headache to think of the worst and worst pain I was going through. But the moment I started to see Jesus, who never did anything wrong, even his killers cannot accuse him of something that he deserved. Mm-hmm. His mother is there. I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I can take mine. And with that, I felt my body can breathe just by putting it in perspective. Look at him. He's God. And he's doing it for me because I decided to trust him, to believe him, what he was going through and who he is for me. And I remember reading again the words in the Bible, what he said on the cross. And he said, forgive them, Father.
Yeah.
He don't know what they do. Again, not like supernaturally. I feel he was speaking to me like my life is parallel with his. They don't get it. People are trying to kill you. They don't measure the pain they are causing you. I know you are in pain, but you think they know, but you cannot get enough. Why? Because they are blinded by hatred, blinded with selfishness, blinded by greed. They want more and more, and nothing can ever satisfy them. Listen to me. Come to my side. Be like me. Leave them in my hands. They don't get it. They don't even measure the consequences that would come to them. They will suffer the consequences. They can't even live with their own conscience. And when I think about it today, if I say something unkind about somebody, I don't sleep. I go to confession. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's killing somebody, I don't want to be in their shoes. Then they will wake up to realize what they have caused. And I truly start to pray for them just like that. And that's when I can say, I found forgiveness. I feel like a huge baggage was lifted from my shoulders because now I can see they are the children of God too. And his father, their father, is losing them to this evil they are doing. And they still have a chance. But again, according to my faith, what I have learned, if you die without changing, you risk to go to hell.
So the people who were searching, were they young people?
Yes,
mainly
young people. Not really necessary.
No.
Some of them, strong people. I mean, one of the men who had the crew that was searching for me, he was in his 60s. And he took young people, 20, 30, 40, and he would give them money, he would give them drinks, and then he would send them to kill. Oh, wow. So they were outside, and I remember they said their boss sent them, and I remember one of them said, Immaculee, she's the only one we're missing in her family. Wow. I'm like, I haven't done nothing to you. This is a man I used to go to visit in his family. He had children who were my age. How can he? Yeah, but, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I found forgiveness, and that was the best thing ever.
How long were you in there before you got the Bible?
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's good you got that Bible.
Yes. I know. And I'm so glad I got it quickly, you're right. Because I don't know if I could have been. It was painful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mentally very painful. I always said the worst question I wish people not to ask themselves is the question why.
Yes.
When
that's a hard one.
It's a hard one, especially when you try to understand evil.
Yeah.
Why? I was dying asking myself that reason. Mm-hmm. But how come they don't say I'm innocent? That's what evil does. You can't go in somebody's mind.
No.
You just leave it alone.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. And my question became, and it's the best question, what can I do now?
Right. What's the next right thing?
What the next right thing I can do?
Yeah.
Not to think about yesterday. Yesterday was better. or complaining about what can I do now?
Yeah.
And anytime I ask myself that question, what the next right thing, as you said beautifully, something came.
Mm-hmm.
Something came I can do. I remember one time I asked the pastor. So the first time they searched for us, it was just the door. They touched the handle and they wouldn't pull it. So the second time, I was like, what can I do? Something in my heart said, when the pastor came back, the man came back, ask him to put the wardrobe on the door.
That was the part
Yeah.
that was an exciting part.
Exciting. I was so sure that if I don't, they will kill us.
And you knew there was a wardrobe there.
Yeah, I think I knew.
You told me you got there.
I think
You told me. You wrote that you got there at night.
I think so.
And you couldn't see it, but you imagined it was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in Rwanda, we used to have a wardrobe.
Right.
I think we knew like having in America, like a closet.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a wardrobe. Maybe I've seen it or maybe I saw it or I imagine it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I asked him, put a wardrobe in front. And he said, oh, if we try so hard, they will find. They will know I was tried. They can really kill you bad. We didn't have the right to speak because speaking can be trouble. I went to my knees. In my life, I never knelt for another human being except God. I went to my knees and I put my hands together. I'm like, you don't understand. We are living in two different worlds.
Yeah.
You are safe. We're waiting to be killed every second. And he was like, okay, keep quiet. And then he pulled it. The next time they came, they went right in the wardrobe.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I can't believe this happened. Yeah, there are many ways, many times I saw God just listening and also being courageous to speak what you felt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Including when they came to look for us. I mean, at the end when we came out, I remember he said, they are soldiers. So they were French soldiers who were taking people out of the houses. But he told us, he said, they are helping the government that was killing.
Right.
I said, they are. We have heard it. It was the president who was on power at that time who was helping our president. And I remember I told him, quickly, that voice, I learned how to trust it. I said, you know what? Let them take us. They won't kill us with machete. They will shoot us. Maybe, if they kill us, let's go. And then he said to everyone, do you agree with her? Because if you die, it's not in my hands. I said, we have been here for 3 months. We have bones.
Yes.
We will end up dying here. So he said, good. And that was a good decision too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember you walking and they were arguing with you. Yes.
So yeah, we came out and he was, I feel like I met God that time. We came out, he called his children and told them he wanted to show them something. So he came out and we have become bones. And remember, I went inside, I was 115 pounds. I came out 65 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And I still remember because I can see the bones here, like separation in between.
Yeah.
From here to here, separation in between, I can touch.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is what they used to tell us in the biology. Like we have 2 bones here.
Yeah, you could see your skeleton.
You can see, the skeleton. Mm-hmm. And so he called his children. He said, I have something to show you before he took us. And when we came out of the bathroom, they all ran outside of the room.
Right.
We couldn't believe that we were there.
Yeah.
And we were bones.
Yeah.
Looking at them. And like, oh my gosh. Anyway, he said, we don't have time because we don't want anyone to say something. So he took us, we were falling down. Had to come.
Right.
He stand
walked in here.
Yeah, we haven't worked. Wow. Our skin had become like a baby skin.
Yeah.
And the whole skin came out when we came to the sun.
Oh, wow.
It cracked everywhere.
Wow.
And then it came out. So anyway, we went to the soldier, and from there we stayed with them for 3 weeks. And that already was, the first day I came out, I had a dream. And the dream is so funny. Yeah, I'm careful with my dreams. It's so funny because, by the way, I have dreamt about you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and your husband, we're talking. I'm like, what is going on? What did I dream them? So anyway, I remember having a dream before we came out. In the dreams, I was still thinking, maybe my parents, somebody's hiding.
Right.
They can't be. They just don't know. Because sometimes they will say that they saw me dead outside of the bathroom. I would hear them. I'm like, I'm still here. So maybe my parents, somebody. So I had a dream. In the dream, I heard Jesus said, it was Jesus on the cross. I didn't see the cross, but he said, my child, when you come out, you will find out everyone have been killed in your family. And he said, those you left home, because I still have a brother who was outside the country. And then he said, but if you continue to trust me and to love me, those two words, he didn't say forgive. If you continue to love me and to trust me, I will be there for you, and I will do for you more than what your parents could have been able to do for you.
Wow.
And it's so funny because even if I was in pain, I was wondering what was going on, how am I going to be? It's just too painful. If I found anyone dead, there was a question I couldn't even address. And the question was, how am I going to live if everyone I know is dead? The friends of my dad are dead. I can't even find a job. Our homes are destroyed. Our banks are empty, of course. Our accounts are not there. Why do I even want to live? Why do I want to live? So there was a question way far away, but I did not address. I just wanted to live day by day.
Now, you learned English when you were in there, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
How did you do that?
So I asked the man, this was one of those voices inside.
Yes.
Like, anyway, if I leave, what am I going to do? I can't be with the other tribe because who knows who can I trust? And my tribe is dead. So it has to be foreigners. And what if I find people who speak English? That was a conversation inside. And something said, you better start learning English. So I asked the pastor to give me a book in English. He looked at me like I was going crazy. And a dictionary, English, French.
Oh, yeah.
So I started to learn. And any book, I don't remember the title of the book. I don't remember what I was reading. But I remember I just reading like one word per word. I would read like eyes. And then we'd go to the dictionary. And I would say, what does I means? And you know, the dictionary is like how you read it phonetically. Because I have learned French before. So I knew how I can learn language. I. And what does it mean? Me. And then I would go back. AM. How do you read AM? I am. What does AM means? It is from to be, this and that and that. I read one word. And I remember starting to say like THE, be, coming back more. So I didn't have to read it in again and again in the dictionary. You know, this proposition, this and that. So, yeah, that's how I learned English. One word per one word. And what I had in my mind was, I just want to be able to talk to somebody. My name is, I come from. So I didn't learn so much, but I memorized these questions. How far is it from here to here? How? So I memorized the questions and I memorized the also answers. And this is the funniest thing. 3 months later now, 2 months after the genocide, I found myself in the office of United Nations being interviewed in English. And I remember in the middle of the interview, I said, I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I've been here before. Why do I know these languages, these questions?
Yeah.
Of course, that one exactly I learned in the bathroom. So even that in the bathroom, it was that voice teaching you.
Yes.
You're going to need this. You better start. And of course, the lady is also very thought she's going crazy.
That gives me chills.
Yeah, it truly, I saw so much to trust that voice inside.
Yeah.
And of good. And especially when the anger was gone, that's when I became myself. When I started to pray for the killers.
Well, you started to prepare for the future when you started to forgive, I imagine.
Yeah. When that obsession, the moment I knew they truly don't know what they're doing, I separated this overwhelming anger. It was gone. I need to pray for them. And I knew I still have to hide. Because forgiving somebody doesn't mean that they have changed. It's you who change. I still have to hide. Like hiding, let's say, a mad person who is trying to burn somewhere. You run and you have to hold them tight so they don't kill you. They don't kill people. But you don't have to hate them. And that what changed. I wanted them to hurt. That was gone. No, they don't have to hurt. And when that was gone, then I started to think about my life.
Yeah.
What happened? Or what if I leave? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then the English came. And then I had that dream. And Jesus said, I will be there for you. If you trust me and you love me. And I understood to love him is to respect him, is to love, is to forgive, is not to hold these horrible things. Yeah. So loving him is just like, I know you. It's about the actions. If he says love, then that's what you do. And to trust him. Trust that you are not alone. Trust that I'm with you always. And that was something that, okay. And he said, I will be there for you. So he addressed the question of, what am I going to do anyway? Why do I want to live? When I came out, the very first hour, I remember saying, I need to find quickly what happened. I can't lie to myself another second. So I asked a man who knew my parents. I said, do you know what happened to my parents? And one by one, he told me, oh, your father died here. Your mom died here. Actually, I didn't tell him that I didn't know. I just said, I just don't know what happened. How it happened. He said, oh, your brother was the last one. And then I just screamed for like 5 minutes. And after that, I remember just like putting back, gather myself back together quickly. It was like I felt as if like a God was also speaking again to my heart. Like he speaks to all of us. Again, nothing audibly, but inside. I felt like something was telling me, the journey of your loved ones is over. Here on earth, but not in heaven. And you know more than many that heaven is real. And your journey is not over yet.
Right.
And you don't know how long it's going to be.
Right.
It can be 1 second, 1 hour, 1 day, 10, 50, 60. But whatever that is, only God knows. And what is in your power is what you choose to use you moment by moment. What do you choose to do with it? Either to hate or to love.
Right.
To be kind or be mean. To be constructive, use what you have, or do nothing. But if you choose love, if you choose goodness, if you choose to use your life for something constructive, I am with you. Ask me for what you want. And you don't have to ask for too much. Because if you are still alive tomorrow, I'm still there.
Right.
Just ask for what you need today.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to grab and grab. Just now. I'm like, you're right. From what I know from my faith, when I die, I'm going to face my Lord. And I'm going to give account of how I've used my life. The truth I have said, I used. The good I have done, actions. I clean my tears because that voice had become very strong inside to trust it with everything I saw coming through. I said, you're right. I'm going to do something good. So I woke up my tears. There are refugee people there. Some people with their arms. Other people had bones of machetes in their head.
Oh.
People, kids who have lost their mind. I still remember there was a woman who have lost her mind. They killed like 8 children, I think. Her husband, they hit her. Right. They harmed her badly.
Yeah.
So she doesn't remember what day it is, what happened exactly. She's like, yeah, my children are coming. So people told me what happened. I just had to help, do something good. And I remember even thinking, Jesus, how can I do something good in this refugee camp? We sleep outside. People are wounded. We don't even have medicine. The food we can eat was crackers the soldiers were giving us and powdered milk mixed with bad water. How can I love anyone? How can I use my strength for anything good? And something was like, go to that lady. Just sit there. Let her talk to somebody. If she does, just feel like somebody cares, you have done your part. You have loved. You don't have to have too much. Go to that kid who had open wound. Just ask them how they feel. If you do that, they can feel that love. You have done your part. Ask the soldiers if you can help them write the names so they know who is there, how old, and which one is in which stage. Just do that. And that's what I did every day. Maybe coming back to what my dad used to do.
Right.
That's what I did.
Right. You went around to
what it is
lessons.
I saw.
Yeah.
And I would go, everyone ask, how are you? What's going on? You okay? Let me just fix.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Your community.
Yeah, the community. Remove the stones so you can lay down in the grass. And evening, I will look to the sky, take my rosary, pray the rosary, and I will tell God, if you choose to take me, I hope I have tried. I hope I have done just my part to love somebody. Because I think that's what you would ask us. In the morning, I remember saying, oh, I'm still here. I'm not dead. Let me do the same. And to tell you the truth, I feel like sometimes that's what I'm still doing today. Because life is not mine. I don't know when it will end, and I wake up with different capacities. I wake up today writing books, and I really have to be responsible for what I put in those books. Am I just venting my pain, or am I trying to help somebody?
Right.
Because it's about love, how we give ourselves. I am with myself every day. I don't even really have to pay attention too much extra. I always say, today many times the world tells you, like, you first. I'm like, I am with me everywhere. I shower myself. I care for myself. I need to make an effort to think about another human being. How can I serve? How can I use this person to do something loving, something good? Because I got me already. I can think about other people. So, and I wake up with, what can I do? How can I serve? How can I be useful? And I mean, I even a sick person on the bed can be useful just by smiling to people who are trying to take care of them. So I always say, like, I know I can do something good. Sometimes to do what is good, it's like when I'm sitting in this tiny seat in a plane, I feel like, how can I be good in this moment? Because moment by moment, just push your back. Don't talk so that the next person can have a little bit of peace. If you do that with love, you have done your part. And when you speak, what are you going to share? Are you saying something that just because you can talk well, or is this something you're trying to get across that it can uplift another human being? As a wife, when I'm home, are you trying to be good to your husband? Am I trying to do something good? As a mother, are you being a good mother? So I feel like every day we wake up with different capacities, but it's that one day at a time.
One day at a time.
One time.
That's not too much to ask.
It's not too much. That one moment. And then you leave the rest to God. Pray and remain with Him always. Truly, yeah. I know I'm talking about things
And you are increasing my faith as you speak.
Oh, thank you. I remember one thing I forgot to tell you, that really I had a big impact on me. And I think it was very crucial to think about that during when I was hiding. I remember coming with God almost like, okay, let's now try to get this faith thing really strong. I remember asking God, anyway, what is the plan of my life? I know when students go to school, you're going to spend these years in high school and college, depending on which degree you want to have, or when you have a job, you're like, okay, so when am I retiring? How am I getting to get paid? You're like, we like to organize things.
Yes.
I remember saying, God, what is the plan of our lives? And I remember saying, okay, where do we come from? And I took a pen. When the pastor gave me I asked him to give me a notebook that I can write in little things. I took a pen. I'm like, so where do we come from? Let's start from the beginning. Well, I created you. This is what I felt. And he was telling me, I created you. And I remember I had another question. Why would you create me and put me in this mess when you know what can happen? And I remember he was almost talking sweetly, like, well, think about your parents. I'm just like a father. When your parents have you, they knew what can happen, but love was so much stronger that they just want to love you. Every parent wants to love your child and give them the best you can. And that's why you have children. So I promise you, I created you to love you. And if you can only hear my guidance, what I put in the Bible, what I share how to live, you will be fine, no matter what happened. So I am with you. I created you to love you and to share with you paradise, to love you. But the troubles, I am with you also. Just listen to my guidance. So I understood how God created me, why I'm here. And then I remember asking, so how long do we stay on earth? So that I can have a big plan like a student or like somebody working, when am I going to retire? How long do we stay on earth? So we come from you. How long? This is the time when I said I believe in you. Well, let's say 100 years. and how many people who get to that 100. Okay, so 100. So what about after that? Where do we go? So I can place myself in this big plan. Well, there's a choice of heaven and a choice of hell. It's up to you how you live here in this 100. And both hell and heaven are eternity.
Eternal. Yeah.
So it's up to you, what do you do here? And I remember looking at hell. I'm like, you know what? I'm living in hell already. I don't want to look more, because it is also in the Bible. It explains. I wanted to look at heaven. I took it so seriously. It was like we're sitting with you together. I knew this is real, and I wanted to understand it. But that was me who told God, I believe in you. Now, let me see what you say, which contradicts what. And so far, I don't think God have ever disappointed me with what I believe, what he say he is. So I remember I'm like, okay, so let's look at heaven. Is it even worth working for? Because if I have to live in this pain, I want to know what is the reward. And I remember going through Revelation, and I started to read, and it really made me feel good. The roads are diamond and gold, and the best gold, and the best diamond in heaven. There's no more pain. There's no more anger. There's no more war. It's all a bliss forever and ever. I'm like, really? Okay, let me take a pen. What does forever mean? Millions, billions of years. It doesn't end. And then I remember thinking, so I'm a student in the college. 100 compared to billions and endless, this is really little tiny. This is 100. So why do I care about this instead of this much? And I realized that it was because I didn't have enough faith in the big part. And I remember saying, okay, I want to be here. I want to go to this eternity that is so much better, where everything is perfect forever. And I felt like, okay, how do you go there? And I felt like God was saying, go back to the Bible. I gave you a commandment. Love others. Forgive. Do good. Use what you have to contribute to the world. And I used to think like I can do the commandment of God. But of course, until I started to go to forgiveness, and I realized that I don't know how to do this.
Right.
Yeah, and then slowly it came to be. But that, to this day, it really helped me even to accept the death of my family. Because I lost 98% of my whole family, including my uncles, my aunts, my cousins. I mean, everyone, really.
Yeah,
most
once.
Exactly, yeah. So 98% were killed. Every home we had was destroyed. Nothing was left. Every cloth we had. Nothing even to remind you that 3 months ago you had a family. It was all gone.
Right.
1 million people and more were killed in a period of 3 months. So to accept that, I had to go back to that big plan. I feel like somebody was telling me, like, remember, heaven is much better. And it's eternity. And your journey is still here, but it is really small compared to the eternity. So that kept me safe. Otherwise, it was so easy to lose your mind.
Yes, right.
Yeah, to lose your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember thinking, who went through this? I never knew anyone who went through this. Why me? Why our generation? When you hear somebody who lose 200 people and being killed by machete, but there is heaven and eternity. And that kept me safe to this day. And I remember one time I had a dream about my family. I have found out that night how they killed my younger brother. He was in a stadium. They used to go to stadium and throw grenades there, and everyone would die. So my brother, a girl who a grenade cut her hand. She ran in the forest, but she was with my brother. When they shot everybody in grenades, they shot him. They saw him. I cried. To this day, I shake when I hear how they died, especially when I hear something new. I had to get used to it again. Like the last word, something my brother said, I'm like, then they could start again. And I was crying all night. And at night I had a dream. In the dream, I was on earth, like where we are. And it was wet, it was dark, like rainy. And I was standing in the light, but the light was coming like oblique after my feet. It went like this. Another one went like this. And on top, it was beautiful. The light I saw, I always say, it was almost like looking through the diamond and there is a bright light. So, but it was transparent. And I saw my whole family, like a picture. Like a family picture when, like in a wedding. I still remember my mom was on the side. Her hair was like floating with a little wind. She had a traditional cross, white, and very healthy. Her skin was like a baby skin, like they all became young. I remember seeing my father, and I saw my brother, Damascene, who was my best friend. So they were up here, and then he came down. I can see like he came down on the side so I can see them well. He had on like a blue pant, but a really shining blue pant, royal blue. And the white shirt that was so, I would say maybe wet iron. There was no wrinkle in that shirt. And then he had the joy. I always say, think of somebody who maybe won $1 billion in a lotto and they go crazy. And after like 3 hours, the craziness is over, but you can still see in their face. Like they're very happy. Like they saw something really good. That's how I remember my brother. I remember seeing him like, "Whoa, what happened to you? Why are you so happy?" And he opened up a smile openly. Because before he was smiling, but without opening his mouth. And then he laughed. He said, "I want to show you where we are. And I know you miss us. But if you really love us, tell us what to do. Leave this place and come there? Or are you okay to wait until you come to join us?" And I remember saying, never, never, never come here. I remember thinking, when parents have a child who go to America, to Canada, on a like a scholarship, they say bye crying from Rwanda, but they're happy and the child is gone. Even if you've spent 5 years without coming home, they're just happy that the kid is studying well, having a scholarship. So that's how I felt. I said, you know what? I will miss you, but you stay there because you need to be there.
Right.
And then I woke up with the lady where I lived, who my beautiful family that kept me after the genocide. She woke me up because I was singing. And the song I sang was, "Praise God, praise God for what you have done. You are good. I praise you. Thank you, thank you." And the woman woke me up. I'm like, "What? Don't wake me up. I still want to be where I was." So I had some consolation.
That's right.
Yeah.
Healing,
It truly, God healed me. And I know the strength, like Mary said in Kibeho, like I said, I truly think about her so much. She's just a mother who is really, really a mother.
She's the best of mothers.
The best mothers. And who guide you. She always say, "I am a prayer away. I'm always watching over you. But when you say even just one Hail Mary, I turn around. It's like my kid pulls on my dress." That's what she told us. And I have to turn around. What's going on? And whatever you're praying for, I'm paying attention. And I'm helping you, adding my own prayer to the Father. So she really became like that mother who is like so beautiful, so caring. And in a funny way, remember one of the visionary, the people in the church who were doing investigations, because these kids would levitate from the ground. Sometimes she told them she would take them to see heaven, and they died. But they would tell people, "Don't bury us. We're only going for like 12 hours. Who does that? And who gave the time and hour?
Right.
So every single person who came to the apparition, we saw miracles. Nobody can say I didn't see anything. So they levitated. They fell down. They put them injection, like give them anesthesia. Like 10 minutes before Mary came, and they will fall down, like anyone else. And 10 minutes later, general anesthesia. 10 minutes later, they will stand up.
Wow.
You see, like, what is that? So we knew, and during the apparition, 50,000 people would come. It had become really, it took over the whole country. So one time, whenever Mary came, the kids would fall on their knees. And one time I remember investigators of the church who were pinching them, putting fire on them, needles in their eyes to see if it is true. Oh, it was scary. So they said, you talk to Mary like she's your mother, like she's your friend. Because they would end up calling her like, "Mom, sweetheart." She used to tell them to turn around when they had on a new dress. And you would see her going like this. She's like, "Mom, sweet." And then she would call them like darling, words like that. And she's like, they gave me this nice dress, Mom, and then she would watch them. She would ask them to dance for her. We dance in a church. And then the church bishops and priests, and we say, you have to remember, she's the queen of heaven and earth. If you say it's her, you have to behave like she's the queen. And one girl said, I know what you mean. You can't even stand in front of her without going to your knees. But I don't think we're talking about the same lady. She said, the lady you're talking about, she seems stiff, like a queen who just don't want people to come close to her. But the one I see, she's really a queen, but she's always the humble one. She's always asking me to come closer, even when I can't dare. She asked me to take a deep breath when I'm scared and asked me to come close to her. One time, the visionary kissed a statue of a lady. And our lady asked her, can you also kiss me? And she said, oh, I can't dare. You're too beautiful. You're too holy. And our lady smiled. So she was a mother who just wanted her children to come closer, even if she's clothed in that glory. One time in Kibeho, she appeared like 3 a.m. So the ball of light, everybody was able to see it, but only the visionary can see her. Right. So this is my friend who told me, who's a Protestant? She said a ball of light came and went through all the beds, and then stood on top of the visionary's bed. So the visionary stood up and was able to talk to a lady. And for 5 minutes, 3 a.m, in the poorest school in Rwanda, they didn't have the light. They had to put on a generator for the kids to study, only for a few hours. So she came like 3 a.m, and there was no generator making the noise. So everyone was able to see. My friend told me, you can see the smallest dust on the ground. That's how bright it was. So I spoke to her for like 5 minutes and then pulled away and disappeared. My friend told me it didn't go like off. It was as if somebody was pulling it away from the window and then left completely far. So the visionary stood up in the morning and told the students, Our Lady gave me a message to tell you. She told me she wanted to show you that even when you are sleeping, she's watching over you. She does. And that's for all of us, all her children. And the moment you can call her mother, she's there. She even always told them, you don't have to pray for anything. As long as you are praying, you are united with her. As long as you're meditating with God, it's a matter of love. When you love people, it's not like you have to tell them so much how much I love you, but you want to be together. What do? You're wondering, you don't want to do something your husband doesn't like, even when you are not together. So it's a matter of love with her too and God. It's like you had just be together. And she would tell them, be like, like a wreath. Be like a flower that just like in that wreath, and the power of God will always flow through you. When you are thinking about God, you care for what He cares about, the poor. You care about others. You make peace. You become that light. And she said, with that, I will care for your intentions. I know what you need more than you even know it. Just me there in that God. I'm like, so I loved Our Lady so much. Let me share one miracle that happened to me. So one time, I went to the apparition. I had an exam. I was in college. And I had an exam on Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning. And Mary was appearing this time once a year, on a Friday.
Once a year.
Yeah, which year? Yeah, once a year. Yeah,
once a year.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, she was appearing once a year. So she appeared on Friday. And I had an exam Saturday morning. So we had to leave on Thursday. And if I go, that means I'm not going to pass the exam. So the teacher was going to show us what to study on Friday. So I said, I'm going and I'm going to hold the exam. But I don't want anyone to tell me how the apparition was. 4 hours later, they will say, it was really good. She said, we pray. I'm like, no, she said more than that. So anyway, I took off, went to the apparition. And I said, I would come to the exam for the summer. So during the apparitions, a lady was telling her how much she loves us. She told the visionary to tell us. Of course, she would repeat. She's like this looking up. Towards the end, after 4 hours, she told the visionary, my children, some people here have run away from school without permission. I wanted to die. I thought, oh, I'm in trouble now. She knows I came from school without permission. Well, I didn't ask my teacher because I thought if he doesn't give me the permission and I still go, that is two sins. I'm in double trouble. Let me take off. I will explain whatever. I will tell him the truth. He will do whatever he wants. So I just took off to the apparition and with some students. So she said the vision to repeat, some people have run away from school without permission. And I started to think between thousands of people because they used to put speakers all over. And then she said, some people have run away from work without permission. And I can see other people too going down. And then she said, something that tore my heart to this day. She said, but my children, because you came here out of love for your mother, when you go back, I will speak on your behalf.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody will be in trouble. I'm like, what? You're going to help us. It was that time when you would say 8 years old is hugging 14 years old, like you are the same age.
Yeah.
We are all the children. Like, oh, she loves us. And we hug each other. You're so beautiful. I'm like, I started to ask myself, what can she do? I didn't study and I have to go to the exam. Because if I don't go to the exam, I have to write a letter why I didn't go to the exam. I rather fail, come to the summer, but I have to. So anyway, we went back to school. The apparition finished 8 o'clock at night. We got there at 2 in the morning, went to sleep a few hours. So in the morning, I woke up at 5 o'clock. I'm like, how can I have 0%? Even for just my own reputation. I don't want the student to look at me like she's the one who failed 0%. I said, let me study a little bit, just in case one question comes. So I was studying electrical engineering. I took a book 350 pages. What do you do in 2 hours? And I'm having stress. What am I going to do? Something was preserve your peace. That voice inside. Peace. Peace. Peace is important. I always remind people, please remember, nothing is worth taking away your peace. Only our sins, maybe, but not anything else. Otherwise, God created us to do what we can, to use our time wisely. And if you have used it wisely, you don't have to worry. The race isn't controlled by Him. So anyway, I said, peace first. I took 10 pages, just randomly. Let me read through these pages calmly. If anything happened, good. If not, that's okay. I knew what I was going to anyway. I chose that. So I read the 10 pages, almost with a song in my heart, just being at peace. Went through it a second time, and then I went to the exam. Okay, this is what happened. When the teacher gave us the little books of the exams, every single question came out of those 10 pages. I picked randomly in the morning. I remember feeling oh, where is our lady? She was there. She helped me. Was it my guardian angel? What is going on? Who is here? It's a little bit scary, when you're coming to accept, I'm not alone. I have God with me. Guardian angel Mary. Anyway, I tried to help myself, and the bigger miracle was next day when they brought us the result of the test. Only 2 people passed the exam, and I was one of those 2 people. So they looked at me like, oh, she's such a genius. I'm like, oh no, you don't know. You don't know who helped me.
Wow.
And I remember going to church and I just cried.
Yeah.
Cried. What? We are loved this much. There's somebody there for us. You don't have to think I'm that tribe. I'm hated. No. You are loved and enjoy that love. And just do your part. The rest is not mine. Mm-hmm. Even when you take risk out of love, you have done the best thing. And that is really something that completely guided me today. Anytime I care for somebody out of love, I have lost nothing. Right. You have done what you need to do. Because the words she said, because you came here out of love for your mother. When you go back, I will speak on your behalf. Mm-hmm. So when people are motivated with love, by love, you are perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then she loves the Rosary. I heard about a miracle with Rosary. I can't wait to hear more about that. But the Rosary, she promised. She said, you pray the whole Rosary every day and watch me. and see what I do in your life. Just be there. You know, sometimes people go like, what does it do? You know, just go to find out how you can help yourself. I have done it more than once, and I see the doors are able to open, and you do your part.
Mm-hmm.
But to see the doors are able to open, miracles that happen, just pray. She told us in Rwanda, pray the Rosary, make prayer groups, enough prayer groups in the country. If we do, what is coming would not happen.
Right.
So I always say, you can blame the government, you can blame this, and of course, we all make decisions. We are to blame, all of us. If we prayed enough for the country, for the peace of the country, we will have been fine, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Good, that's a good message. So what do you think about living in New York now then?
I love it.
Have it?
I do. It's, again, talk about the things we're talking about, how God sometimes gives you a little bit of what can happen to you. I remember when I was a child. So I live in a village. We planted everything. Everything, really. We didn't buy. We bought only maybe sugar. Everything else we farmed. And I remember I used to ask my parents, I want to go to a city. I just want somewhere there's no dust. And I used to imagine a place with light, with cement all over, because I just did not like the mud. Yeah, I do. I love it. Of course, I speak like that, like a child, what I was thinking about then. But I love it. Things are changing, sadly. Yeah, not in a good way. But
It has its challenges.
it has. Yes, it does, really. Yeah, it's scary, you know. It's for the first time in the past few years, I'm watching my shoulders, you know, before you just worked. I loved, we live in Manhattan, so I love that you can work for like an hour, 2 hours, feeling like you're still in the same city. There's no crossing highways, it's just like the same neighborhood. And I loved it I love the conveniency, you know. Everything is so close to each other. Yeah. But now you feel like there is insanity around you, and you just don't know what can happen. And I don't understand it much, but you feel there's something not right. And it's a world everywhere.
You'll stay there?
No.
No,
we won't. Yeah, we are thinking about moving. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, I think that would be wise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, we think so. And I love...
when you earned awards, Reconciliation and Peace Award by Gandhi Organization, and other awards as well. How did those come about?
I don't know. I don't know. They just say that they do. You know, anytime I think about me surviving and forgiving, you know, I just feel like it's the most normal thing possible.
Right.
And, yeah, it's actually becoming more normal. The anger was abnormal. You know, the wanting to revenge was more abnormal.
Right.
You know, it just felt like I came to myself and be myself. And of course, with what have happened, it's really God's grace that saved me. Right. You know, you hold on to and forget. And I have gone to the prison, and I met somebody who killed my family. Oh, and I truly offered him forgiveness. Yes. Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, it didn't feel hard either. No, it just felt like this is the right thing to do. Right. You know. Right. I have charities in Rwanda helping schools, children since then. And again, it felt like God feels like God put you here to act and be a part of this movement, be a part of the good. You know, I always remember the man who caused the genocide in Rwanda. He was one man. One man. So when he saw the two tribes, the leaders shaking hands, and in the United Nations was helping that, they shook hands for peace, like, okay, let's start peace. One man who was the head of the military came out of the room, told the journalist outside, he said, I am going to prepare apocalypse in Rwanda. And apocalypse of Tutsis. Yes. And that's exactly what he did. And he died. He was in prison, with the UN prison for a long time. But I always remember what I learned from him is one person can change the world. Right. The action, one person who chooses love, you can do a lot of good. Yes. And with that, I have seen just by one decision, including writing Left to Tell, I just remember saying, I just want to tell another human being that you are not alone. No matter what you might be going through, you are not alone. Hold on to God. And if you don't believe in Him, Ask him questions, because the nature of God, he's everywhere. Mm-hmm. He's inside, he's outside. Ask him, are you there? Mm-hmm. I want to see you. Mm-hmm. I want to see something that convinces me that you are there, so that people are not alone. Because the worst time I ever lived was when I didn't have hope.
Yeah. Right.
And meaning hope, not just necessary to live and to make it, to survive, but just hope that even if I die, it doesn't end here. Mm-hmm. You know, you can die in peace saying, okay, this is my time. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm ready to go. And I've met people who really live with their faith and who are happy to die. So, including my brother, you know, one brother of mine, Damasen, he wrote me a letter the day before they killed him.
Oh.
And I put in my book, Left to Tell, a whole copy. And he wrote to me, if I die, don't worry, I will go to heaven because I'm prepared for that. Yeah. All I know is that no one can decide to exterminate a tribe.
Right.
Only God can decide that. I'm like, my brother can say this? He's ready to go to heaven? So I realized that.
God really prepared you.
Yes, they really did, yeah. And I realized that when you are in a good state of mind, when you do good, when you die, God gives you that acceptance. As when you die, he really does. Mm-hmm. And with that, it's just moving to the next stage. So that took away a lot of my fear of dying. If anything, I fear to die without accomplishing something good. Yeah, doing something, using my life every day. Or holding on, becoming selfish, like, oh, I need to rest, you know, let me just take care of myself. No. We have to rush. Not rushing fully like that, but I need to use my life when I can still do it. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to hold on what is good. Right. If I have to go to help that person, I need to do it. To care for my children. Or hold on an advice you can give somebody. Because sometimes it's a word. It's a word that changes somebody. Mm-hmm. You know, it's what you write, you know, that it changes somebody's life. I think we have to contribute with that. So the awards is definitely very humbling, you know, to have the awards. But I'm like, oh, do I deserve that? But it's beautiful. And I realize that it inspires other people too.
Right. Yeah, that's the hope, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So what's one piece of advice, just for the last question, what's one piece of advice you'd give people who are listening, who are particularly facing difficult times right now?
Oh, don't give up hope. But especially hold on to God. Care for your faith. Question it.
Yeah, ask.
Yeah, ask.
Great, ask. I think that was very smart.
Yeah. Just ask. Don't settle and don't deny things you don't ask. You haven't asked.
Yes, right.
Because, it is powerful. It is important.
Yes.
Yeah. Faith is so strong. And it's so subtle. It's so simple. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you think...
I think that's why we don't believe it.
Yeah. We want something much harder. Yeah. And not just like to be yourself and be simple.
Yeah.
And then love and actions and thoughts. So I value prayer. I wish people who pray, please, you know, the Rosary especially.
Yeah.
It's really...
It teaches you the gospel. It brings you to the Bible.
To the Bible, yeah.
Yeah.
And to do it every day, because every day there's another voice that you don't have to invite in. Mm-hmm. Another voice that is discouraging you. Are you sure? Why do you have to do that?
Yeah.
Stop that.
I don't know why we wake up in the morning and often the thoughts that we have are disturbing.
They are.
Right? I don't know why that is. But if you pray right away, you can give those voices to God.
To God.
And then when you turn away from prayer and turn to the world,
yes,
you're better prepared.
Yes, I truly believe, as a Catholic, as a Christian, I believe the presence of evil, the devil himself.
Yeah, I do too.
Yes. And I truly believe that we are between the bad voice, which is of the devil, and the good voice from God, and from what is good, of course, angels. And with that, we're here. But we have been redeemed. This has no power over us unless we say yes to that.
Right.
And with that, I start with prayer too. The moment you give God, go ahead, I'm yours, he takes over. And then he guides you. And this doesn't have power over you. So God is stronger. Love is stronger.
Yes,
Again, the bathroom, what it did to me, it highlighted things. Like if that voice is talking to you very sneakily, it was loud. And God and evil became so strong, like so separated. I was angry a little bit before, it is just like, I don't know, I don't have peace. I'm angry a little bit. I hated 8 million people. And then anger is like almost killing me.
Yes.
And I was able to see the difference with that. And what you said about getting up, just praying. I remember when I used to wake up in the bathroom, it was like a tsunami of the evil suggestions. They will kill you.
Right.
They will rape you.
Yeah.
If you live alone, the neighbors will still kill you anyway because there's no Tutsi that are alive anymore. And you know what? So the government and the Hutu will win. And then in the end, they will still kill you. You know, just like, it's better to die. And it feels again like you being reasonable. So to invite God in, I used to wake up and the second I opened my eyes, I'm like, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And I would say to the devil, you are out. Right? I am under God.
Yeah.
And that alone will give me peace.
Yeah.
And I just like, oh God, I love you. Come in my heart. It was like, I felt like it was like something outside of the cage. And he was like kept away. And I was at peace. But if I didn't do that, I'm just wake up and like, yeah, I wonder how my day is going to be. All the suggestions will come.
Yeah.
This is going to be bad. This might be the day. Imagine, they might keep you. And then maybe they'll kill you slowly. And read it. No. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And from there, like you said, the Rosary will bring me to the scripture. It's really, the Rosary is a summary of the Bible.
Yes.
And I think it's like, a teacher who says, from this book, we're going to pick these questions. There's sometimes few questions in the course that will prove to the teacher like the students have got it.
Yeah.
And with the Rosary is like the main event of our Lord. The angel Gabriel come to Mary, to a woman who was engaged, and just give her will completely. It is his will be done. I'm like, wow, am I capable to do that? Can I really tell God whatever you want? Even when I'm engaged, you will come to disturb my engagement, get me pregnant, and my fiancé is going to ask. And she didn't even ask, like, what should I tell Joseph? Oh, his handmaid. If only we can leave that. Whatever happened, good things happen to the good and the bad. The good and the bad, people get sick. Surprises come in life. If only you can live with that acceptance to God, God's will. One of the things Mary used to tell us in Kibeho, I love this lesson, to offer love our sufferings and offer them to God. And I remember my brother used to say, like, this is one thing I don't understand about Mary. How can you love your suffering? So it's not like you want to suffer, but if it happens, be that child who trusts a parent. When you take your child to get injection, vaccination, and it's good for them, and we take a pill that is bitter, but we'd heal them from that. It's many things a kid doesn't understand, especially underage. They're crying. But imagine if the kid can just say, okay, because they just tried the father, 2 years old. Okay, dad. Okay, mom. Oh, it's bitter, but okay. Because you trust. So our lady used to tell us, accept your suffering and offer it to God. Let him use it, which it can be strange. But anytime I do it, it's like my whole suffering is cut in half.
Yeah.
And I can take it easy. I heard one little girl is just sent from Fatima. So she knew the same message Our Lady gives everywhere is to accept our suffering, give it to God. And with that, God uses it and it's gone. And it gives you consolation. So she used to tell them self-mortification, never hurt yourself. But for example, if you're going to dress a nicer dress, you can dress down. If you eat much just to satisfaction, you can eat less.
Right.
Little things, fasting sometimes here and there. Let go the dessert you're going to have. So the kids in Fatima, so Lucia, her mom didn't believe her that she was having apparition. And she would slap her, she would punish her. But the little one, Jacinta, her mom believed them and the brother. You know, it was like pride of the family. Wow, the Mother of God is appearing to our children. So one time she told Lucia, the little one, 8 years old, she told Lucia, you are lucky you have more sacrifices to offer to God because your mom is not nice to you and doesn't believe you. But ours, they believe us, so we don't have much to offer to God. I'm like, what? Imagine if you have to take your suffering as a gift you give to God. Anytime again this happens, I'm done. To this day, when I miss my parents, which I do many times, and I still cry to this day, 30 years later, my brothers, anytime my kid is graduating in college and graduating, I'm like, if only my mom can be here, if only my dad. So that pain will always be there. But it's not like a pain of anger. But anytime I think about them in that way, and I feel pain, and I'm like, okay, God, even this, I offer it to you. It's like 2 minutes later, I'm like smiling. But if you go with the anger, I'm like, how dare, who did it? You are stuck
with it.
In it, yeah. But the moment you offer it, God, even you died on the cross for me. Help me to use what you give me. And in the end, we are going to be reunited. 100 is really a blink compared to eternity. It's like a little dot on a map compared to eternity. Just help me to be at this time. I offer it to you for salvation of souls. For the poor, for that sick child, sick person, I offer it to you, dear Lord. Wow. It's just beautiful. Yeah. And again, there's something there. I don't know how it works, but it always works.
But it always has.
Always works.
Yeah. No, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But we don't have to know.
We don't have to know. No. We can only trust.
Yeah. Trust.
I loved your experience with the Rosary.
It's been, it's been quite an experience. I'll tell you about it.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your story.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. If your husband, truly, you both have touched the world and you have earned it.
Well,
because
there's more to do.
You truly do. You have earned it.
Well, we'll see. I think there's more to do.
Yeah, there's more to do. Yeah. Keep up to be brave, to share the truth, to say the truth, and to be the mother and the father to so many in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm blessed and I'm grateful to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.